आय नमो नमः। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरि गौर भक्तवृंदा। नमो महावदनाय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामनि गौरात्वेषे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितां येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Dear devotees, doing Bhakti Shastri with VIHE, you are all welcome for continuity of our lecture of devotional study. Yesterday we have discussed some 18 or 20, some 20 angas or limbs of the VIHE sadhana bhakti, and among those 20, 10 were do's and 10 were don't, and among the 10 don'ts, one was avoiding offenses. And there is a full chapter dedicated to avoiding offenses that you have to study simply from the two Puranas and some anonymous source. There are different offenses, and in the end there are 10 offenses to the holy name. So what principle yesterday we have learned that the offenses to the deity worship or to the holy dham can be nullified by surrendering and offering prayers to the Lord Hari. And if somebody has committed offense to Lord Hari, a two-legged animal, if he takes shelter of the holy name, he will be freed from that offense. But the holy name, which is very well-wishing friend of all living entities, if somebody offend the holy name or commit the nam aparad, then he will fall down. So this is the essence. Before we start the next chapter, where we have some further limbs of the VIHE sadhana bhakti or angas of the sadhana bhakti, whatever you have studied till now, you have any question or comments, we can discuss. You read yesterday, you have any question or comment? Haribol, you don't have any question or comment? That's very good.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
In the chapter 8, the offenses, among the offenses, they say one should not decorate his forehead with 3 lines tilak. But Lord Shiva used to decorate his forehead with 3 lines tilak. And those days, I read one place, they say you should not look at a person that is drawing 3 lines tilak. What is the significance?
It's called Tripurna. Tripurna means 3 horizontal line on the forehead, which is the type of tilak describing the follower of the Lord Shiva, mostly Mayavadis. So Vaishnava should not wear that type of tilak. Lord Shiva is actually a topmost Vaishnava. He used to wear the Vaishnava tilak, but when he found some of his followers, they were acting as ghosts and other and disturbing the Vaishnavas, so he changed the tilak simply to bewilder them that that people should not consider them Vaishnava and they do all nonsense. So there is a tilak which Vaishnava never wear. That tilak is mostly seen on the forehead of Mayavadis or follower of Lord Shiva generally, Shivites. So Vaishnava should avoid that. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, in the chapter 9, Lord Buddha is one of the incarnation of Krishna.
Yes.
Why did Lord Buddha come and preach in personalities?
There is a Srila Prabhupada raised that question in purport if you read that because
I do not understand it clearly.
It says because at the beginning of the Kali Yuga people misused the Vedic injection and they were involved in killing the animal in the name of Vedas in the sacrifice. So Supreme Lord incarnated with a sort of empowered incarnation in the form of Buddha to institute the philosophy of non-violence, not killing animal, and since the people said, well, it is written in the Vedas that we should offer the animal in sacrifice, so Buddha said, don't do that. We don't follow Vedas. If the Vedas recommend that, then we don't follow Veda. So in one sense, his followers have given up the rules and regulation of Vedic knowledge, therefore they cannot be included as a Shuddha Bhakta, because the topic under the heading under which this is number 4 item in which we have to follow the saintly people which follow the scripture. So because Buddhas and Sahajias and Dattatreya, also teaching of Dattatreya is in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, but these two are at least in Nectar of Devotion. Sahajiyas, they make show of devotion without following the scriptural injection. And similarly Buddhas, though they are respected as a devotee generally, but they are not Uttam Bhakta of Supreme Lord because they disrespect the Vedic literature. They don't follow that. So we accept Buddha, but we don't accept the philosophy of Buddha. But indirectly Buddha, the people are following Buddha who is incarnation of God, so indirectly, though it is atheistic, but indirectly at least they are following some authority. And that authority is according to the Vedas. So they are not Uttam Bhakta, but somehow they are within the fold of Veda.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
There is one point like one should not enter the temple wearing garments of red or blue color.
This is a common question all the time when we teach, devotee ask. So before we discuss this question, Buddha philosophy is called Shunyavad. The philosophy of Buddha Radhesham is called Shunyavad, and Srila Prabhupada's Pranam mantra says Nirvishesh Shunyavadi. So Shunyavad and Nirvisheshvad, one is Mayavad and other is Buddhist philosophy. So this is evolution in a Kali Yuga. Radhe. Actually Vedic system went below zero in a negative side, so Buddha came as an incarnation to bring it to the zero, Sunyavad. Then Buddhists flourished so much in Bharatvarsh that they rejected Vedas. So Lord Shiva incarnated as Shankaracharya to bring from 0 to 1. So he preached the Advaitavad, which means oneness, which is also covered actually atheism. But that was the one step they brought from 0 to 1. Then came the Madhva Acharya and he brought from 1 to 2, Dvaitvad. Then came Ramanujacharya and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he brought to one God and unlimited living entities serving with Achintya Bhed Abhed Tattva. So this is the evolution within the Kali Yuga of the devotion from the negative to 0 to 1 and 2 and to many. Now the next question which is asked, that one should not enter the temple with a blue or red cloth. There is no explanation given by any commentary of the Acharya, but only the logical answer is that one should not be so prominent that people, instead of having darshan of deities, look on those people who have very say colorful cloth. Usually they distract the other people from offering their prayers or their meditation on the Supreme Lord. These are the colors which are too prominent to distract the people from their worship and meditation. This is only the one reason which we can figure out when we discuss. Anybody else has any idea about that? Are you heard about that? Are you read about that? No? Any other?
Hare Krishna Prabhu,
Yes.
the same answer was given by Bhakti Tirth Maharaj, Swami Maharaj. He always used to say, wear simple clothes so that you should not be, same answer which you give. We have only heard your answer from him also.
Yeah, many times people, every time we teach, this question is asked, but the question is very, there is no reason given, but this is only the reason we should not be prominent as a competitor of the Supreme Lord, because Supreme Lord have all these different type of clothes. But why exactly the two words are there? There is no commentary so far we have read. Any other question? So far what?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Chatura.
Yeah, I have heard that they said in Vrindavan the gopis also wear the color like the same with Krishna or Radharani.
Well, what I can understand and say you that blue color is very much liked by Balaram and Radharani. They both are called Neelambar. Neelambari and Neelambar. Neela means blue, Ambar means cloth. So Radharani mostly wear the blue sari and Balaram mostly wear the blue dhoti. So those who are really the lover of Krishna, they want to wear the cloth which resemble the color of Krishna. Red is also, it's not very clear in my mind right now, but this red color is also the color of sort of deep love to the Lord. I don't know, there are different color, yellow, blue, they have some significance according to the depth of the love of God. So definitely deities are decorated with colorful cloth, and the associate of Lord which are coming with the Lord, which are not a conditioned souls. They are not conditioned souls. They are liberated souls. Gopis do wear the multicolored dresses, variety of dresses. They are associate of Supreme Lord. But the sadhana bhakti, in other words, if we classify like that, when we are in practice of sadhana bhakti, they are the offenses. But when those who are already perfected, they are siddha, in the love of God, there is no restriction for them in one sense. Is it okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Hare Krishna. So, till whatever we have discussed, everybody is comfortable, and the question bank, have you discussed among yourself, or you started answering? Anyway, you will have a weekend, 3 days to finish all the question bank answers. So we are starting further the chapter 9, right? Chapter 9 or chapter 10? We are in which chapter right now?
9.
Right, we are in chapter... Yes?
Chapter 9.
Okay, chapter 9. So chapter 9, the one negative item we have discussed yesterday, right? And what was that? Blasphemy. Blasphemy of a devotee or Supreme Lord. And there are 3 ways to react in a situation when we find somebody is offending the Supreme Lord or his pure devotee. Either defeat him by logic, or give one's own life, not kill somebody else. Don't kill the opponent, but leave your body or leave that place. So safest is to get away from that place. Keep your finger in the ears, don't hear the blasphemy of the devotee or Supreme Lord, and leave the place. And one most important thing is about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, though his philosophy is Trinadapi Sunichena, but he become angry when Jagai and Madhai offended Nityananda. So the principle Srila Prabhupada has said is that the devotees are not at all disturbed when they are personally offended. They will tolerate this because this is also part of their devotional service. But when Supreme Lord or the temple deities or the devotees or the spiritual masters are offended, they must defeat the opponent or never listen this blasphemy. So this is a principle. Now we are going to the item number 21. Atha Vaishnava Chana Dhritihi, wearing the marks of the Vaishnava. Ye Kantha Lagna Tulsihi Nalli Naksha Mala, Ye Bahumula Parichihnitah Sankha Chakra, Ye va lalata phalake lasata urdhva pundra, te Vaishnava bhuvanamasoho pavitrayanti. Such Vaishnava can purify the whole planet. Those Vaishnava who have tulsi beads, lotus seed beads, that is Naliksha, Nali na Aksha Mala. Nali na Aksha. Nali means lotus. And japa beads around their neck, Kantha Lagna Tulsi, who have their shoulder marked with the signs of Kanch and Chakra, and who have tilak on their forehead. Urdhva Pundra means Vaishnava tilak. quickly purify the earth. This is a Padma Purana verse which is in our book. So in our book there is something more written about the tilak. So it's very straightforward. There's not something which needs discussion. Say tilak and tulsi bead is a topic in our book, right? And there is a Padma Purana verse which just we read. The last line in the paragraph is, their presence make the world purified and anywhere and remain, they make the place as good as Vaikuntha. This is Prabhupada's comment. Then Prabhupada gave a similar statement. The similar statement is a different topic. Topic number 22 in our book. Let us write topic number 22. A similar statement is in Skanda Purana which says, Hari Nama Akshara Yutam Bhale Gopi Mridankitam Tulsi Mali Koraskam Sprayashayo Na Yamado Yamadda Bhatta. Hari Nama Akshara. The servant of the Yam will not touch those who have names of Hari on their body, who have Gopi Chandan Tilak on their forehead, and who have Tulsi beads on their chest. So this is the item number 22. And the name is Nama Akshara Dhirti. Dhirti means wearing. Nama Akshar means holy name. So Srila Prabhupada writes, person who are decorated with the tilak are a Gopi Chandan. And Gopi Chandan, Prabhupada says it, but we all use that. But Prabhupada here writes it's found in somewhere in Vrindavan. Though mostly it is coming from a Gopi Talav, a pond of the Gopis which is in Dwarka. There is a place, anybody visited Gopi Talav in Dwarka?
Yes, Prabhuji, हम लोग तो आपके साथ ही गए थे.
Right. They dig the earth and they take out the tilak and they distribute tilak there. Yes. And that is a place where Gopis has done the Abhishek of Krishna and they had a water sport there. So it is actually the scented bodily, all the bodily, what is called lepan or the what you call makeup, whatever you call it, would settle down, and this has become the Gopi Chandan. So this Srila Prabhupada writes the whole thing. Yamadutas, who are Yamadutas? Prabhupada says they are constable of death, which gives the punishment. In Srimad Bhagavatam, in the narration of Ajamal, Prabhupada give further commentary that Yamaraj told the Yamaduta never bring anybody who have a neck beads and a tilak on their forehead or those who are chanting holy name. Now next item.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
One question. And just now there is one slide that we can also have those lotus seed here.
Yeah, there are available here in Vrindavan. There are lotus seed. People do make a mala of the lotus seed, but this verse says lotus seed. It's lotus seed, but Srila Prabhupada has not actually translated this as a lotus seed there. Nalin Akshamala. The word is Nalin Akshamala.
Yeah, it's white color.
Well, at least that's not against the devotion. Like those who are the Sevite, they use the Rudraksh and Chandan. They are called in a different mode. So this is at least mode of goodness. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, what about in Radhakund there are some.
There is a Radha Kund Kile, and there is a black.
Radha Kund's yeah.
Yeah, there is a black. Actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he visited Vrindavan and when he manifested Radha Kund, manifested means recovered Radha Kund. At that time, he took bath there and he took the mud and he put a tilak. So, because that was available there. So, there are still some Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they use the Radha Kund tilak. So,
can we use this Radha Kund tilak?
I mean, Prabhupada never sort of recommended or neither he has forbidden anybody who was wearing. So it is a personal sort of decision, or one can take the permission or approval from the personal spiritual master, but there is nothing like do or don't about that. There are many devotees, they wear it and there is nothing wrong. There is the only thing is there is too high. Too high means, Gopi Chandan is also gopis. So this is Radha Kund is also Radha. But this is more like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can have Radha Kund Tilak because he is in Radha Bhav and he is a Krishna himself. But we are not at that level. Because there is like a highest, there is a highest devotional symbol that can, and neither our acharyas were neither wearing that, like generally it's not mentioned like that. So we respect Radha Kund as Radha, and Radha is only for the Krishna to enjoy. So Srila Prabhupada and our, in a sadhan, at this stage of VIHE sadhan, bhakti or devotion during practice, this is not advisable actually to have that tilak because of higher, higher spiritual level. On that we are not. Is it okay?
Thank you.
Okay, Hare Krishna. So Padma Purana has another statement. There is also Nam Akshar Dhriti, same 22 item. Krishna Nama Akshahi Gatram. Gatram means on the limbs of the body. Ankya cha Chandanadini, one who make them with the sandalwood. Saloka Pavano Bhutava, he will be the purifier of the whole universe. Tasya Lokam Ava Punyat, he attained the planet of the Lord also. So this is the item number 22. We have these two quotations. We are going to the item number 23, limb of the bhakti. Nirmalya dhartihi, wearing the garland used by the Lord. Nirmalya means those things which are already offered to the Supreme Lord, excepting the flower garden. Now I want you to correct one word, but once you read, then we will correct. Srimad Bhagavatam, Uddhav says to Krishna, 11th canto, 6th chapter, verse number 46. Now somebody should read this, 3 lines at least. Either I should read first the verse. Tavyo upabhukta sragga gandha. Tavyo upabhukta means that which is already enjoyed by you. Sarga Gandha means the flower garland. Fragrant flower garland. Vaso alankaraha char-chitta. Vaso means cloth. Alankar means the say what you call the ornaments. Chara-chittaha uchishta bhojino dasas, and whatever you honor the prasad, bhojan, and then somebody take the prasad. Uchishta means prasad. all these items as a prasad. Dasas tava mayam jayemahi. He will conquer the material energy. So the word here is simply by decorating ourselves with garland, Uddhav is saying, fragrant oil, sarga gandha, clothes and ornaments that you have already enjoyed, and by eating the remnant of your meal, we, your servant, will indeed conquer your illusory energy. Now you read in our book few lines, then we correct that and go further.
From the start of the paragraph, Prabhuji?
Yes, Bhagavatam, Uddhav says to Krishna.
Uddhav says to Krishna, my dear Krishna, I have taken things which you have used and enjoyed, such as garlands of flowers, saintly articles.
Yeah, saintly article. What is the meaning of saintly article? The article used by saint, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So original word is scented articles. Because at that time the editors or those who are transcribing Prabhupada's audio tapes, they understood it saintly because they don't know what is scented article. So the word is scented article, it should be corrected. The word is gandha, which means scented. Okay?
Should I continue?
No, but that's enough. And there's another verse. The another verse is from Skanda Puran. Krishno tirnam to nirmalyam yasya angam isprashate mune sarvarogais tatha papai mukto bhavati narada. O sage Narada, whoever touches the garlands offered to Krishna become freed from all disease and all sins. So this is another quotation here, right? So in our book you can read after we will have a time for our reading, but today they may not be possible. So what is the purport? So first Srila Prabhupada is giving purport to the first verse. Any person who simply follow these rules and regulation of decorating body with the marks of tilak, of gopi chandan and sandalwood pulp, and who puts on the garland which were offered to the Krishna. Most of the time Prabhupada was always wearing a garland, Mahaprasad garland generally. And many people do want to, and how much powerful is that, and we don't know, but it is very powerful. So at the time of this. Similarly, Skanda Puran, this is what we have just said. Similarly, Skanda Puran says, my dear Narada, anyone who puts on the neck the flower garland which was formerly used by Krishna become relieved from all disease and reaction to sinful activities and gradually become purified. Okay? So how much important is really to garland? We don't give such honor to the honor means we do give, but it's then and really speaking, sometimes these garlands which are worn by the Supreme Lord in the night, in the morning when they are given as a prasad to the devotees, because of the hot season, most of the flowers they get a little bit decomposed, and I think maybe most of the devotees are aware that I have at least more than 10 set of kurta which are stained with the marks of the flowers, and they never go. There is a good sign that but we should wear and honor that. It will cure the disease. It will cure the all sins. It's too powerful, right? Now we are going to the item number 24. Tad agre tandavam. Tandavam. Tad agre means in front of the Lord. Agre means in front. Tandava means dancing before the deity. This is from the Dwarka Mahatmya. Here it is from the Dwarka Mahatmya. Yo nirtyati prahishta atma jubilantly in ecstasy. Bhavai bahushu, and he has so many wonderful emotions. What type of emotion? Bhaktitaha, of a devotion. Sa nirdahati papani, he will burn all the sins. Manavantra shateshu api, of the millions of lifetimes. So here it says, Srila Prabhupada writes, Dwarka Mahatmya, different feature of bodily expression means emotions, burns away all accumulated sins, many thousand life. The same book, there is a statement by Narad. Same book means Dwarka Mahatmya. There is a statement by Narad. What is that statement? From the body of any person. This is Srila Prabhupada's own purport. This is a very common verse which we use in preaching. Anybody while chanting holy name, if he clap his hands, then all the birds of the sin from the body immediately disappear, fly away. So generally when we preach, we tell to the people, well, if there are 1,000 birds sitting on a tree, even a child clap the hands, all the birds will fly. They say yes. So similarly, this body is compared to the tree. Yes, body is compared to the tree. And on this body there are sinful birds. If we clap during the Hare Krishna Mahamantra chanting, then all birds will fly. Then in a joking mood, preacher usually say that, okay, they all will fly because you are all chanting. But where they will go, and they have to stay somewhere. So where they will land? The one who is not chanting and clapping, all the birds of all the people who are chanting and clapping, their bird of sense will go and land on the person who is not chanting. So this is the way to inspire people to chant, clap and dance. Right? So this is Prabhupada's purport on this dancing and chanting. Now item number 25. Dandvan natihi. Dandvan nati means offering obeisances. And this is a very powerful verse from Naradiya Puran. Very powerful verse. Eko pi Krishnaya kirta pranamo. Only one bows down once to Krishna. Dashva ashwamedha avabhirtai natulya. It cannot be compared to 10 ashwamedha yajna or any ritualistic activity. Why? Dashva ashwamedhi punareti janma. That who perform the ritualistic ashwamedha yajna, he can go to the heavenly planet and will come back. Krishna pranami na punara bhavaya. But one who offers obeisance to Krishna will never come back in this material world. So this is the Naradiya Puran verse which is in our book as it is. One obeisance to Krishna cannot be compared to any ritualistic activity of so many yajna, because yajna can only elevate to the heaven, but then they will come back. But offering obeisance to Krishna, he will never come back. Anybody who thinks they are equal, he is a pretender, pakshandi, and an atheist. And item number 26, that is called Abhyutthanam, rising when deity approach. This is Brahmana Puran. This is a verse from Brahmana Puran. The person who rises up on seeing the Lord approaching on a palanquin will have all sin destroyed. So actually rising up is for us, practically speaking, like when there is a bhog offering, the curtains are closed. So everybody is sitting in our temple, evening 8 o'clock. We have Bhagavad Gita class, everybody is sitting and the doors are closed. But by 8:30 there is the Aarti. So when it is a time for the Aarti, when conch shell start blowing, everybody should stand up. Similarly, if there is a procession of a chariot going, or a DD, small DDs on a procession, if we see that, immediately we should stand up. One should not remain seated when the deity is approaching on a procession. That will be offense to the deity. Like some respectful person is coming, we stand up quickly. In our normal classroom in a school, when teacher used to come, we used to stand up. But the Lord is coming, everybody must stand up. So this is only few lines about that. Following the deity. The next item is following the deity. Anuvarjya. Anuvarjya means following after the Lord's procession. Rathena saha gachanti. This is Bhavishya Uttara Purana. Those who are outcast, Sarva Swapa Adyaha. Swapa Adyaha. Swapa Adya means dog eater, Chandal, most fallen. Who go along with chariot means when there is a Rath Yatra of Jagannath or on any other chariot yatra. Chariot beside, behind or in front of it. Some people, like those who are doing kirtan, go in front of the chariot. Some are on the side of the chariot. Those who are looking for prasad generally in our chariot. And some are behind the chariot. Become similar to Vishnu, which means they get a special liberation, Sarupya Mukti. But Srila Prabhupada writes they will get the equal opulence like Krishna. So that is Sarishti Mukti actually. As Prabhupada writes here. But there is no difference. They go to the Vaikuntha, that means. Vishnu Ayeva Samaha Sarve. They become equal to Vishnu. It means either form or in power. A power means Sarishti or Sarupya. Both are okay. Paravataha Prishto Agrataha. Agrata means in front. Prishto means behind. Paravasta means by sides. Okay, we are going to the next item. Item number 28. Sthane Gati, going to the places of the Lord. Sthanam Tirtham Graham Chasya Tatra Tirtha Gati Yatha. Sthana means Tirtha or temple. First going to the Tirth is illustrated. So, this is from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Sthane Gati, going to the places of Lord. One is a quote from some Purana. So what is in our book? It is said in a Purana. So it says some Purana. Person who attempt to visit the holy places of pilgrimage like Vrindavan, Mathura and Dwarka, this is Srila Prabhupada's own purport, are actually glorified. By such travelling activities they can pass over the desert of material existence, which means they will be liberated. Sansar Maru Kantara. Sansar means material world. Maru means desert. Kantar, they will be crossing. Nistar Karana Kshamaho. Shalagayo, they will be glorified. Tav Eva Charano. Yao Hare Tiratha Gamino. The 2 feet which go to the Tirath of the Lord are praiseworthy, since they enable one to cross over the dangerous desert of Sansar. So this is the verse quoted in our book. And the next, this is one from some Puran. Then Hari Bhakti Sudhodaya. Another verse. Praveshamalyam Vishnu, this means temple. Previous was the holy place, like Prabhupada writes, Mathura, Vrindavan or Dwarka. Now is entering the temple of Vishnu. Pravesham pravisham alyam Vishnoho darshna artham shubhaktiman swabhaktiman na bhuyaha praveshena matoho kukshihi karagraham sudhihi. So once somebody goes to the temple of Lord Vishnu, he will never enter into the womb of a mother, which is like a prison house. This is the meaning. Again, Srila Prabhupada here writes, visiting temple of Krishna. And then Prabhupada says there are many temples in Vrindavan, Dwarka, Vrindavan. So somebody visit there, mother's womb, everything is written there. So going to the temple or to the holy place. So we will discuss, I think, by the end of the day, not today, but by the time we finish all, there are some repetition. Because we already have one item that going to the Dwarka, Ganga, Purushottam Kshetra. So, and then the one more will come. So what is the subtle difference between all these, that we will discuss. Going to the item number 29, and that is called Parikarmaha, circumambulation. Circumambulating the temple of Vishnu. And Hari Bhakti Sudhodaya, same is speaking about Vishnu Pradakshani Kurvan, one who circumambulate Vishnu. Yassa Tatra Vartate Punaha. And he comes back to the same point from where he started his circumambulation. Tada eva vartanam tasya punar na vartate bhave. So he will not come in material world again. So this is the verse here. Then Srila Prabhupada has little more purport on this, which is this one. There is another Skanda Puran quotation for this. Chaturavaram Brahmibhisto Jagat Sarvam Characharam Krantam Bhavati Vipragraya Tada Tiratha Gamanadikam. O best of the Brahman, those who circumambulate the Lord 4 times. This is the most important line to remember. In our book, Prabhupada writes Chaturmasya, 4-month people who are usually traveler, they will not travel generally, they stay at one place. Why? Because in those days it was rainy season, it was very not easy to cross over the rivers and other places. So people used to stay at one place during Chaturmasya. And during that there are many other things they follow, like we follow the rules from July, August, September and October. They start from the month of Shravan, Prabhupada writes. So saintly people, what they do, they follow many rules and regulations of Chaturmasya. But the verse here is from Skanda Purana, which says 4 times. This is important because earlier somewhere in the book it said it is written 3 times. So the correct is 4 times. It is I don't remember exactly. 3 times is for Ganpati. 1 time circumambulation is for Durga. 4 times is for Vishnu. And half parikrama is of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva, on the back side there is a passage for the water after the Abhishek. So nobody should cross that line of the water which goes. So parikrama of Lord Shiva is only half. Half parikrama of Lord Shiva, 1 parikrama of Durga, 3 parikrama of Ganesh and 4 parikrama of Vishnu temple. This is a rule. But Srila Prabhupada here writes some can have many parikramas. And there is a one line, circumambulating the deed is superior to Tirath. Going to the holy places and doing the parikrama of the temple's parikrama is superior. Because it quickly produces devotion to the Lord than going to the Tirath such as Ganga. So we are going to the next item, 30, Archanam, deity worship. Now in this you read the second line. Somebody should read the second line. Archan means deity worship in the temple. And then by executing this process, one confirm. Can you read this line? What confirms? What is written here? Underline this. What is that?
Process one confirms himself to be not the body but spirit soul.
What is the meaning? Do you understand what this says? What is the meaning of this?
Yes, that we are not the body, we are the soul.
That is all right, but what it has to do with the archa? What is with the archana or the deity worship?
Body is impure, but spirit soul is always pure.
There is a ritual before entering the deity room for deity worship. That is called Bhuta Siddhi. It's called Bhuta Siddhi. This word is actually Shuddhi. Bhuta Shuddhi Nyas Adi Purva Anga. Purva Anga means before entering into the deity worship, actually we have to purify our body, mentally thinking that I am not body. I am going to worship the Supreme Lord who is fully spiritual with my spiritual identity without the designation of body. So this is called Bhuta Shuddhi before deity worship. So this is a verse from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu which says Shuddhi Nyas Adi. Nyas Adi means when we do Achaman, then the Nyas means every part of the body we touch with the water and we purify. This is called Anganyas, Karnyas. So Shuddhi Nyas Adi Purvanga. Purvanga means before deity worship. Krama Nirvaha Purvakam. These are the items which has to be done before actually starting deity worship. Archanam, Tupacharanam, Upacharanam, Syan Mantrena Upapadanam. Archan means offering items with mantra after introductory activities such as Bhut, Siddhi and Nyas. So this word Srila Prabhupada has taken from Bhut Suddhi. Is it okay? Have you entered sometime temple? Maybe not India, but outside in the Western world or rest of the whole world, the Matajis are doing the whole Archa Vigraha Upasana in the temples also. They are offering arti, they are dressing the deities, they are bathing the deities, they are doing everything there. So before entering the temple, at the entrance of the deity room, there is always a Achman, and there are mantra written there. You have to do Bhut Siddhi and Anganyas, touching the different part of the body, eyes, nose, ears, mouth, head. This is called Anganyas. And then Karanyas means hands. So this is the introductory activities, means Purva Anga. They are not actual deity worship, but they are Purva Anga. And then there is a quotation here. Oh, okay, this is something commentary by Jiva Goswami. Shuddhi refers to Bhut Shuddhi, purification of elements of the body. Nyas refer to Nyas such as Matrika Nyas. These are the other action. Purva Akarma. It's not actually deity worship. It is before deity worship. They are performed prior to offering of the items such as lamp and flowers to the deity, which means arti. Offering of the item with mantra, along with these preliminary activities called archan. So archan includes all these. Now if you remember, we have already discussed that archan is a there are many anga in archan. It's not a single anga, it's a complex anga of archan. So archan has one verse quoted from 10:21:19, and this is the Sudama Brahman is speaking this verse. worship of the Lord's lotus feet. Taha charana archanam. Taha charana archanam. Krishna's lotus feet, worship of the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna is the root cause of all perfection a person can find in heaven, in liberation, in subterranean regions, and on the earth. So this is here quoted. Can you see this? 181-91. So Sudama, when he was going back after meeting Krishna without getting anything from Krishna, obviously, so he was thinking like that. He was murmuring to himself, simply by worshipping Krishna, one can easily achieve all result of heavenly opulence, liberation, supremacy on the planetary system, and all opulence of the material world and mystic power. So this is the verse. Now what is written below this in our book? I always, when I teach, I will be very confused about this statement here. This has nothing to do with the Sudama, Vipra. This is something of Krishna's pastime of blessing the wives of the Brahmanas who were doing yajna. So how this portion is inserted here, I don't know. It has nothing to do with this topic. Prabhupada said, event leading to Sudama's murmuring. So the above Sudama is not in Vrindavan, and this is an incident of Vrindavan. So somehow this is inserted here. How it came here, I don't know. There's nothing to do with Balaram, this Sudama.
Maybe some like earlier the scented flowers. Maybe it's
somehow there is something here which has even if it is a Shridam, but what is the relation of the Shridam with the Archa Vigraha? No, event is leading to Sudama's murmuring. So Prabhupada is connecting the connection with the above verse. So this portion is not very clear to me why it is here. Okay, before we go to the Vishnu Rahasya, which is the next quote, we read the commentary on deity worship now on the screen. In this verse, Archana emphasized and is thus mentioned as the moolam, or a root to glorify it in comparison to processes other than bhakti. However, the greatness of other angas of bhakti should be understood to be similar. If archan is absent, another anga of bhakti can be performed and fulfill same function. So it means sometimes like you are in China or in olden days Russia where you cannot do deity worship, no problem. You can do other angas, it's okay. Now this is the Vishnu Rahasya. So this portion you mark it, it has nothing to do with the archan as such. Maybe, I don't know, Prabhupada has written something like that, the Brahmana, wives of the Brahman, they worship Krishna by offering prasad as a nivedya, and Brahman did not offer, so they got the bhakti. So in that context there must be something, I don't know exactly. We have to refer to the BBT, that why it is written still here, what it has, what is the meaning. So Vishnu Rahasya has this statement. Sri Vishnu Archanam Yetu Prakurvanti Nara Bhuvi Te Yanti Shashvatam Vishnu Anandam Param Padam. So those who worship the Lord Vishnu's deity, they will go back to the Vishnu Lok. So now we are in Paricharya, service to the deity. So both appears to be same, but there's only one difference. In our other slides, okay, Paricharya consists of decorating the Lord with different items and worshipping the Lord with chamra, umbrella, music and other items. So what is the difference between the two? This is the difference between the two. This can be considered part of the archan but is listed separately since, why? These services can be performed without Purva Anga like Anganyas or the Bhoot Shuddhi. So without that they can be performed. Paricharya means serving the Lord like a king. There are two types, decorating with the items and worshipping with the chamra. So in our other slides there are two things showed there. Okay, this is here we are. This is Tilak and Tulsi beads are 121 and 22. One is a Tulak and one is a Tulsi bead. These items we have done. We have right here, decorating the Lord and worshipping with fan, umbrella and music.
Hey Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
Can I ask a question, Prabhu?
Yes.
Alright, just now you were saying about that discrepancy in pronouncing the mantras in observing the regulative principle, and there may be discrepancy with regard to time, place and persons and paraphernalia. So that means, in other words, those people who can't chant the Vedic mantras properly or this thing, that means just by simply chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, it is enough. Is that so, Prabhu?
Yes, it's all right.
So that means, in other words, when we offer food, when we offer any kind of prayers, there are so many different types of mantras. So we just simply chant Hare Krishna. Is that okay?
For ordinary devotees is all right, but those who are doing the deity worship, they must be trained in chanting the proper mantra.
I see. Okay. Then there's another question, Prabhu. Just now I tried to ask you, but my mic was muted. You were saying about this marking the body with tilak and also that Vishnu marking that Sangha chakra and all this, right?
Yes.
So how about people who put a tattoo on the body?
Well, there is also there are something that people do tattooing, and they also do the sort of heart metal they mark the marking. You go to Dwarka, they are putting all these on the body of the people with the burning, what you call that, I don't know is that word.
Like putting a mark.
Sorry?
Like how the Sri Vaishnava, they put the thing fire and they put the mark on them.
Yeah, such marks.
Burning
marks there. What is I don't know what is, there's a special word for that. So they are also done. I know our one Maharaj has all 12 tilak on his body with tattooing the saffron tattoo.
So that means, is it tattoo okay?
I mean, if the Krishna tattoo at its proper place is okay, but people have a tattoo all over the body, that may not be.
No, because I put a tattoo on my hand, long time ago, but sometimes I regret whether I've done the right thing or not.
No, in olden days people had this is one of the identification mark. There's a tattoo mark on the hand. Krishna is written, people's name are written. Well, there's also same thing.
I see.
Hare Krishna.
Doctor?
Other side. Okay, we are going Paricharya. We have Paricharya 31 item. We are not able to complete this. It appears. Let us see. So we have done Nardiya Puran, Paricharya. Okay. If one remains in the temple of the Lord for one murat means 24 minutes, something like that, or even a half of the murat, he goes to the supreme abode. What then to speak of the persons engaged in the Paricharya of the Lord? This is Nardiya Purana in our book. Rendering surface, first is the Vishnu Rahasya, then is the Nardiya Purana, okay? And then Srila Prabhupada gives the purport, Paricharya, further. Like the water flowing from the big toe of the Lord, a taste of the service to the Lord's feet immediately destroys the contamination in the intelligence of the performer of the austerity, which has been acquired through unlimited birth. Day by day, that spiritual taste increases. This is another. The conclusion, Srila Prabhupada writes, the conclusion is that those who are rich men in society, this is Prabhupada's purport on this item. The conclusion is that those who are rich men in society should construct beautiful temples and arrange for the worship of the Vishnu, so that people may be attracted to visit such temple and thereby be offered the opportunity to dancing before the Lord. Srila Prabhupada is putting all anga together in this purport. They can dance before the deity, chant the holy name before the deity, hear holy name before the deity, and they will be given this chance and they can go back to Godhead. In other words, even a man simply by visiting the such temple will be able to attain the highest perfection. So now in this connection there is a statement, 4th canto, just we read, 24, first chapter, just we read. Prathu Maharaj is telling to his citizens, please note that Supreme Personality of the Godhead, Hari, is actually the deliverer of all fallen conditioned souls. No demigod themselves are. No demigod can perform this act of delivering the conditioned soul, because demigods themselves are conditioned. A conditioned soul cannot deliver another conditioned soul. Only Krishna, his bona fide representative, can deliver him. The Ganga water, which is now, this is actual words. The Ganga water, which is flowing down from the toe of Vishnu, falls upon the earthly planet and other planets, and thereby deliver all the conditioned soul living entities. So what need is there to speak of the deliverance of the persons who are always engaged in the service of the Lord? There is no doubt about that. In other words, a person who is engaged in the worship of the deities can minimize the stock of sinful reaction coming from many births. This process of worshipping deity has already been described. Okay, so here is a verse from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. There are various angas of the deity worship and paricharya. These have not been described here for the fear of making book too long. It means there is a separate course for deity worship. It's not included in Bhakti Rasamrita, in Nector of Devotion. Those who want to be pujari, they must have a full course of deity worship. Okay. Now we are going to item number 32. Geetam, singing. And this is a verse from Linga Puran. Brahmano Vasudevakyam Gayamano Anisham Param Hare Shalokya Mapnoti Rudra Ganga Adhikam Gana Adhikam Bhaveta. Even a Brahman who sings continuously in front of Vasudeva, attain planet of Vishnu, the singing is greater than Shiva himself singing. So this is a Linga Purana. What actually is even singing song is forbidden for Brahman. So the sentence means even Brahman sing in front of Lord, that is okay. So here simply it is written. Now this is the most important 38 item, 33. This is one of the question in a question bank. Sankirtanam. There are 3 types of Sankirtan in our book. Nama, Leela, Guna, Adinam. Adinam means also there are other, but the examples are not given in the book. Nam Sankirtan, Leela Sankirtan, Guna Sankirtan. Adi means Roop Sankirtan, Dham Sankirtan. Uchahi Bhasha, when it is sung loudly, is called Kirtan. Now in our book, the Vishnu Dharma quotation is a Nam Sankirtan. Next quotation, 7th canto Bhagavatam, is Leela Sankirtan. And on the next page, the first canto, 5th chapter of Bhagavatam is Guna Sankirtan. So, in our book, there are 3 paragraphs, 3 quotation for 3 type of Sankirtan. Krishneti mangalam nama yasya vachi pravartate bhasami bhavanti rajendra mahapataka kotayah. O king, he who chants the auspicious name of Krishna turns to ashes 10 millions of worst of sins. Okay. Sankirtan, Nam Sankirtan.
Prabhuji?
Yes.
Prabhuji, I have a question. Can you repeat the third one in the book? Which is it?
Guna.
Sankirtan?
Nam,
Third Sankirtan.
Nam, Leela and Guna.
Guna. That is the example of from the Brahma Samhita or
No,
the canto?
You read in our book, this is this in the first canto, 5th chapter, verse number 22 of Srimad Bhagavatam. That is the Guna Kirtan in our book.
Yeah.
So this is the commentary by Jiva Goswami. The glorification of Krishna's name should be explained as similar to the glorification of Archan. Krishna's name is mentioned for emphasizing it, but other names of the Lord should also be considered to be auspicious and render similar effect. This observation applies to other quotation also. Now this is the Leela Kirtan, next quote, 7, 9, 18. O Narsinga, taking association of persons who take shelter of your feet, hearing pastime of Supreme Lord, from devotees in Dasya, Sakya or Madhurya Rasa, which are sung by Brahma, becoming free from material attachment, I will easily overcome separation from you. So this is the quotation here in our book. Okay? There are so many songs, Prabhupada writes further. There are so many songs about Lord's activities, which means Leela. For example, there is a Brahma Santa, now it is another quote. This is also Leela Kirtan. Sung by Brahma, Narada Pancharatra also has glories. Sung by Narada Muni. So these are the other examples Srila Prabhupada is giving. Brahma Santa has a Kirtan. Narad has a Kirtan. Srimad Bhagavatam is also a Kirtan by Sukdev Goswami, which is Leela, Nam, Gun, everything is there. Now the last item of the third Kirtan, Guna Kirtan, 1522. The unfailing cause of perfection for man's austerity, study of Vedas, performer sacrifice, chanting of the mantra, practicing jnana and giving charities of defined as by the wise glorifying the qualities of the Lord. So this is Narada speaking to the Vyas. So this is Kirtan. You remember how many type of Kirtan is there?
Nama, Leela and Guna.
Holy name, pastime and characteristics. So Sankirtan, Gun Kirtan, chanting qualities, there is a purport on this verse by Acharyas. Even though there are material desire and different religious process, they are accepted as religious process because of bhakti in them. The sages have discerned that the chanting of the qualities of Lord is infallible cause of success for austerity and other process executed by the human beings. Since the result of austerity and others acts are achieved by bhakti according to the words of the Lord, what use are those processes? There is no need of those processes. According to Padma Purana, all process, what to speak of those just mentioned, must contain bhakti. Chanting quality, Guna Kirtan, another verse is quoted here from one, it says same, Idam to Punshah Tapas, the same verse. Okay. Guna Kirtan, there is a verse from 11th canto also, which is not in our book. By the influence of time, transcendental sound of Vedic knowledge was lost at the time of annihilation. Therefore, when the subsequent creation took place, I spoke the Vedic knowledge to Brahma, because I by myself am the religious principle enunciated in the Vedas. Thus, two meanings of the word artha are acceptable because of the result giving by other process, meaning the purport. Anyway, this is too much purport not needed for you. We are going to the next item, japa. This is what we are doing every day. Mantrasya sulagha ucharo. Laghu ucharo means not chanted loudly. Jap iti abhidhiyate. Jap is defined as a very soft chanting of the mantra. And there is a quotation from Padma Purana about japa. Krishnaya nama iti esha mantra sarva artha sadhaka bhaktanam japatam bhupa swarga moksha phalaprada. Chanting very softly of the mantra Krishnaya namaha produce all benefit, O king. Swarga and liberation are bestowed to the devotees who perform japa of this mantra. So now japa in our book, what is there? Softly chanting is called japa, loudly chanting is called kirtan. So kirtan is Hare Krishna, when chanted softly is japa, when chanted with the other devotees loudly is called kirtan. So chanting the same mantra loudly is kirtan, okay? Maha mantra can be used for japa and kirtan also. Japa is practiced for the personal benefit, but the kirtan is for the benefit of all other folk. And then there's a Padma Purana. But I think we have a lot more about the japa, how to perform japa, when to perform japa. So there is some more things which we learn, details of the japa, because japa is one of our most important promise at the time of initiation. Now this is the most important topic coming for your question bank as well as for understanding. It's called Vigyapatihi. Vigyapatihi means submission. Prabhupada writes submission. And this is almost a 2.5 page article. Vigyapati or entreaty or submission. So, Harim Udishya Yada Kinchit Kirtam Vigyapanam Ki Gira Moksha Dwara Galam Moksha Tenaiva Vihtastava. By making entreaties to the Lord with words Gira, the bolt on the door of liberation is released. So, Vigyapati or submission is most important, one of the item of sadhan bhakti, which open the door to the liberation. So, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says there are 3 types of Vigyapati. 3 types. Remember, these names are little technical, but you have to remember. Samprarthanatmika, Dainya Bodhika, Lalsa Mai. 3. First is called Samprarathna Atmik. It means feelingly. Dainya Bodhika means feeling oneself fallen. Lalsa Mai means having eagerness to associate with Lord. Iti Adi, these and others. Vivadha Dhriti, there are other also. Krishna Vigyapati Irita. The wise have explained there are various types of entities to Krishna, such as prayers, which means Samprathatmika, admission of incompetence, Dainya Bodhika, and expression of longing, Lalsa Mai Iti. Some Prathna, prayers, are statements coming from the person who have not attained the stage of Bhav Bhakti. What is different between Lalsamai and Samprarthatmatmaka? Lalsa statements come from the person who have attained Bhav. That is the difference. Now in our book, now Srila Prabhupada has, after putting the three numbering of the three in our book, he gave Lalsamai more importance. And he says Lalsamai means those who are in relation with Krishna. It means those who can do, who have a Swarup Siddhi. Can you see the word Swarup Siddhi in the book? Can you see the word Swarup Siddhi?
Yes, Prabhuji.
It means those who have reached the stage of Bhav, at least, they can perform that type of Lalsamai. Now the first quote, Padma Puran, is a first variety of the submission or Vigyapati or entreaty. That's called Samprarthana Atmika. The second quote, Padma Puran, is Danya Bodhika. And next page there are two, Narda Pancharatra and Narda Pancharatra 2. Both are Lalsamai. So these are the different quotes for these prarthanas. Is okay? So the Samprarthanatmaka of Padma Puran is just like a mind of young woman are attracted to the young man or vice versa, and mind of the young man to the young woman. May my mind be attracted to you. This is the example of normal prarthana of a devotee at the stage of practice. Samprartha Atmika. And this is the example of Dainya Bodhika. Dainya means fallen. Matatulyo nasti papatma. Nobody is more sinful than me. No one has committed so many offenses. What can I say? I am very ashamed to ask you to remove those sins. This is Danya Bodhika. Anybody else? Any other some prarthana you remember which is Danya Bodhika? When you look in a prarthana, prayers of Narottam Das Thakur, they have given these titles. Danya Bodhika, Lalsamai, there are some which are called by name. So which of this one you remember is Danya Bodhika? One is very famous, we always chant. Somebody remember that? Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karo Moe Mo Sama Patita Na Paibo. This is the prarthana. What do you think? Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karo More Patita Pavana Hetu Tabayavata Mosama Patita Prabhu Na Pai Beya. So this is the Danya Bodhika Bhav. Now we are going to Lalsamai from Narda Pancharatra. O Master of the Universe, when will you, accompanied by Lakshmi, say with a deep voice to me, eager to serve you with Chamra, please come here. So when will you call me? This is Lalsamai. Eagerness for personally serving the Lord. And there is another quote of the Lalsamai. O Lotus Eye Lord, when will I dance on the bank of Yamuna with tears in my eyes while singing your names? So they are both called Lalsamai. So here is some commentary by Acharyas, and Srila Prabhupada is also some commentary on this in our book. And in the end, Prabhupada writes in the other words. That portion is very important. We will read, but first we read this commentary. Superficially, this appears to be a prayer of someone who has not manifested bhav. Some prarthana belongs to someone without appearance of bhav, whereas lalsa is one with a bhav. However, when a prayer is filled with a similar longing, expressing such bhav, even though not attained, is also called lalsa. Thus, this example is classified as lalsa mai. Prayers and longings such as these are given here to illustrate topic, but actually they should be understood to be example of Raga Noga Bhakti. We are discussing sadhan bhakti, Vaidhi sadhan bhakti. But such type of direct service in Vrindavan, particularly the next verse, is example of Raga Noga Bhakti, not of sadhan bhakti. But they are given here simply to give the example. Now, Prabhupada's last paragraph in our book. In other words, one should learn how to cry for the Lord. One should learn this small technique, and he should be very eager and actually cry to become engaged in some particular type of service. This is called laulyam, and laulyam is only for Raga Noga Bhakti. And such tears are the price for highest perfection. If one develops this laulyam or excessive eagerness for meeting and serving the Lord in a particular way, that is the price to enter into the kingdom of the God. Otherwise, there is no material calculation for the value of the ticket by which one can enter the kingdom of God. The only price for such entrance is this laulyam, lalsa mai, or a desire and a great eagerness. So this portion is actually Raga Noga, because laulyam is the only qualification for Raga Noga. So now we are coming to the next item 36, which says Istava Patha, reciting notable prayers, reciting composition of praise. Stava Patha. Prokta Manishibhi Gita Stavaha Rajadyah Stavaha. The wise consider the Gita and the Stava Raja contained in Gautamya Tantra are example of Stava. It means they are already composed, we have simply to repeat. The Gita is called Stava because it contains glorification of the Lord in the 11th chapter particularly. Stava Path, this is a quotation from Skanda Puran. So Sri Prabhupada opened the topic with Gita has prayers in the 11th chapter. Similarly in Gautamya Tantra, this is a verse of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Prabhupada has put here. Again, Srimad Bhagavad, the hundreds of prayers. And devotees should select some of these prayers as follows. Devotee whose tongue are decorated always with the prayers of the Krishna is always given respect by demigods. So, Istava Path means those prayers which are already composed and offered by the devotees who are pure devotees, we simply repeat those. And this is not given in our book as a quotation of the Skanda Puran. Although, yeah, in Skanda Puran, this is the verse in Skanda Puran. The perfected sages and the devatas respect those whose tongues are ornamented with the abundance of jewel-like verses of praise of Krishna. So those verses composed by pure devotees, they are called Istava Path. Like we do the bhajan of Narottam Das Thakur of Bhakti Vinod, they are our Istava Path bhajan. So Srila Prabhupada has given little purport on this because demigod worship. The next paragraph is Prabhupada's purport on this verse. That why should one worship demigod when demigods are worshipping the pure devotees? So pure devotees also praised by the demigods. Now next is the quotation from Narsingha Puran in our book. Strotrahi Stavaicha, like we have stotar and astatvai. Cha dev agre, in front of Supreme Lord. Yaha astuti, those who pray. Madhu sudanam. Sarva pap vimur mukto Vishnu lokam avapnoti. He will be free from all sins and go to the abode of Lord. So this is another quote about chanting Istava Pat. Now we are going to the next item. Nivedya Aswadya. Nivedya Aswadya. Nivedya means actually the bhoga offered to the Lord coming back as a prasad, tasting the food remnants of the deity, which means prasad. And there is one quote from Padma Puran. He who always eats outside the inner sanctum. This one line is important. One cannot eat in front of the deities. The remnants of Lord's food, sprinkled with water from Lord's feet, mixed with tulsi, that means charanamrit, achieve the result of 100 millions of sacrifices. Now next item is charanamrit automatically. Next item number 38 is Padya Aswadaha. Tasting the foot water remnant of deity, which means charanamrit. And Srila Prabhupada, well, there's a one quote from Padma Puran, and then Srila Prabhupada writes practically in all temples there is a big new pot with a very tasty and sweet and purifying charanamrit, and it's given in 3 drops to everybody, and everybody should offer that. So those who drink the food water of the Lord achieve the supreme goal, even though they have not performed charity, sacrifice, Vedic study or deity worship. It means only if one honor the charanamrit, he need not to follow the other process, maybe new person, but he will get the greatest benefit. What is that benefit actually? There's a one mantra when we take charanamrit, we chant. Anybody knows that? Akal mrityu haranam sarva vyadhi vinashanam Vishnu padotkam pitra virtitva sirse dharyami aham. This is the mantra when we honor charanamrit, we should chant. Akal mrityu haranam, one will be freed from untimely death by accident or anything. Akal mrityu sarva vyadhi vinashanam, all the vyadhi means diseases, disturbances are destroyed. Akal mrityu haranam sarva vyadhi vinashanam Vishnu padotkam pitva, one who drinks the charanamrit of Lord. And sirse dharyami, after drinking he must offer it to the head, like this. So now we are going to the next item. Dhupa saurabhyam, smelling incense offered to the Lord. Smelling the incense and flowers offered to the Lord in our book. I think flower will be the next item. Malya saurabhyam, yes, both are there. So first one, there is a quote from Hari Bhakti Sudhodaya. Smelling the Maha-Aushadhi incense with the nose destroyed karma. The action of the nose, smelling the incense offered to the Lord, fully destroy the poison of karma inflicted on those bitten by snake of material existence. So this is a technical language used here. Hari Bhakti Sudhodaya. So how much are the fortunate people when they come in the temple, when the arati is offered and the incense flavor is coming and everybody is honoring that, how much benefit they will get. Nobody can really understand. Next one. So this is Dhupa Saurabhyam. And next one is Malya Saurabhyam, smelling the garland offered to the Lord. This is from Tantra Shastra. The same example is applicable when a person comes in the temple, smell the incense offered. This is Prabhupada's purport. Now this is something Srila Prabhupada has written as a practical application you all must remember. I am in class. You can call me after 11. Now what Srila Prabhupada is writing in our book, you just open the book. Any devotee coming to the temple should always offer something to the deity. This is a practical application of this. Fruit, somebody should bring some fruit, flowers, incense, etc. Etc. means in olden days in the temples there were always two parts. For the grains, people used to bring a handful of grain. Hare Krishna, who is there?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Vandana.
Yeah. Say, I am giving now a class on of the Nectar of Devotion. I will be free by 11:10.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. There's another Bhakti Shastri I have to start tonight. Again the Isha Upanishad, so they are contacting. Okay. It is said that the nose smelling the flower and a gandha offered to the infinite Lord is cause of complete purification in this world. So Srila Prabhupada, we were reading this thing. In India, the system is that all the ladies and gentlemen who come to the morning to visit the temple bring so many things. Even one morsel of rice or one morsel of flour can be offered. It is regularly principle that one should not go to see the saintly person or deity in a simple temple without any offering. The offering may be very humble or it may be priceless. Even a flower, a little fruit, a little water, whatever is possible must be offered. So when a devotee comes to offer something to deity in the morning, he is sure to smell the good flavor of the incense and then at once will become cleansed of poisonous effect of the material existence. Before we go to the Tantra Shastra, this is a practical application. Srinath Dwara temple, people there outside say ras, sabzi, fruits, everything. People buy that, they offer to the deity, then they cook and offer to the deity, and then prasad comes out. In our some temples, well, people bring flowers everywhere we see. That's very good. But some people bring fruit also we see. And a lot of fruit, milk, other things people bring and offer to the deities. In other words, one should not go empty-handed. In the evening, I remember when in our own personal family temple, when I was 80 or maybe old, in the morning people used to bring some grains. In the evening, they used to bring ghee for the arti. Everybody used to bring, say 15 millimeters or 20 milliliters of ghee, and then a part they used to put ghee there, and then we used to use that ghee for the making wicks and doing arti. So mostly all the items in the temple are supplied by the people who are visiting. What benefit they get, they smell the incense at that time offered to the Lord. They smell the flowers which are given after offering to the arti. These flowers are coming to everybody in our temples, and those who smell that, they will be benefited. Now Srila Prabhupada writes Tantra Shastra. So from Mayavad to devotee, what Srila Prabhupada is writing here is some example of smelling something from the lotus feet of the Lord. This is not in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, this is Prabhupada's own purport. And this is the 4 Kumaras, they smelled the fragrance from the tulsi and the sandalwood and the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu at the gate of the Vaikuntha, and they were purified from the Brahmavadis to the devotees. That is what Srila Prabhupada is quoted here. It is confirmed in Bhagavatam. One who has not washed off the remnants of sinful actions cannot be pure devotee. A pure devotee has no more doubt about the supremacy of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus he engaged himself in Krishna conscious and devotional service. A similar statement is in Agastya Santa. Just to purify the impurities of our nostrils, we should try to smell the remnants of flower offered to the Krishna's temple. So these are the few items which are not in the verses of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. I don't find right now in this. Anyway, so this is the glorification of touching the deity. Now we are going to the item number 40, touching the deity. Of course, this can only be done by those who are Brahmanically initiated. The pure, faithful person who touches the deity of Vishnu become freed from bondage of the sin and attain the all desires. This is the glorification of touching the deity for those qualified to do so. And who are the qualified? Brahmani. Only there is a one temple where everybody is touching the lotus feet of deity. Is a which temple? Panduranga, Pandrinath in Pandharpur. Everybody goes and directly touch the lotus feet of Lord Vithala. And deity worship, Srila Prabhupada is a very profound comments that only person who are initiated Vaishnava can touch the deities. And then Prabhupada narrate some historical upheaval that Gandhi wanted the people to be Harijan, the low caste people without purification can enter into the temple, and there was a big fight at that time in India. That's what Srila Prabhupada has given this historical background in this topic. Anybody can enter the temple if he is properly initiated. It's not that there is a bar of the caste or creed, but there must be qualification. Harijan means the child of God, Prabhupada writes. But anyway, the present law is the law of all scripture, that if anyone is purified, he can enter into the temple. Okay, next is seeing the deity. Shri Murti Darshanam. And this is the Varaha Purana. O earth, those who see the Govinda in Vrindavan do not go to the city of Yam, but achieve pure bhakti, the goal of the punya. So this is a simple thing. Next is the last item of our today's chapter. Jiva Goswami's comment on this. Speaking to all people the glories of seeing the deity, and speaking of all forms of deities, the author overcome by ever increasing devotion, particularly glorified seeing Govinda Bhagavan, the most excellent form of deity, because Rupa Goswami's personal presiding deity is Govinda. Bhakti is the highest goal of human being. Savai punsham paro dharmo yato bhakti. Therefore the wise consider bhakti to be the goal of all pious action. Thus punya kritam gatim, the goal of those who do punya, actually means bhakti, the final goal of all punya, as understood by the wise. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says about punya kirtam gatim, goal of those who execute pious acts, is a phrase to attract the materialist, glorifying bhakti to material result. The author will later explain that the chief result of bhakti for those without material desire is attraction to the lotus, to the Lord in the form of rati or bhav. Now the last item, Artika Darshanam. Seeing the Artika of the Lord. And there is a quote from the Skanda Purana. The face of the Vishnu, lit by the light from the Artika lamp, burns up 10 million sins of killing Brahman, and 10 million sins committed in the past and to be committed in the future. So that is the importance of seeing the Arti. So this much is our today's quota. Let us read something what Srila Prabhupada has written about the Arti here. Submission, this is, we have done this Vigyapati. Smelling, incense offered to the deities and flower offered to the deity. Dhoop Saurabhyam Malya Saurabham, cure snake bite of the material existence, destroy bondage created by sins. touching the deity, seeing the deity, observing the arti. Artika darshanam, utsava darshanam. There are two portions in this. Artika, arti and the celebration. And then chapter 10 we will start tomorrow. Okay, now, come on. So now we are giving you 10 minutes at least, or else we are giving you 10 minutes to ask some questions, okay? Oh, Srila Prabhupada about the festival is speaking about Dola Yatra. Dola Yatra is bringing the Lord in a swing. That is in a march. Usually after Gaur Purnima there is a Dola Yatra. So Prabhupada is giving the festival, somebody should go and see the Dola Yatra. And there is a Bhavishya Puran quotation. Agni Puran, there is also a statement. So now you have any question or comments, we can discuss. I think we have 5-10 minutes left.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yes, now.
Okay, Prabhu, that when you're saying about that, all the rules and regulations about the deity worship, all these are only meant for the pujaris, right, Prabhu? Or is it that for every devotee?
In our Bhakti Shastri, generally we have some classes of deity worship which is necessary for the people to perform at home. So in our Bhakti Shastri, our head puja, I don't know, you have, I think you must have the curriculum that
it is not there, Prabhu.
Huh?
No, this time it is not there, Prabhuji.
Okay, it's not there. But usually we have a deity worship course along with Bhakti Shastri generally. But those who are really pujari, they want to be pujari in a temple, there's a full-fledged deity worship course in Mayapur.
Because it would be nice to have that course, the deity worship course for the householders.
Well, that usually when it was on the Vrindavan VIHE property, then we always have our head pujari to give at least how to decorate deities, how to put a turban on. But we don't have big deities in home, everything is actually manufactured already. But how to really put a turban on the big deities, how to dress the deities, how to bathe the deities. There's a lot more details of the deity worship. And different type artis, different bhogas, how to prepare bhoga, and all this is in deity worship. We used to have in Bhakti Shastri, I don't know this time why it is not there, but we used to have. Okay. Next question. No problem, you read yourself. Tomorrow we will start the chapter 10.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, are you able to hear? I have a doubt, Prabhuji.
What is that?
Yes, Prabhuji. Actually, in Rath Yatra, they allow people to even embrace Lord Jagannath on the chariot. But is it right when they are not?
Because Pandas want money. Now it is not allowed. Government has stopped it. Once, I think almost, I would say 15 years back, Dinbandhu Prabhu and we went to the Jagannath Puri, and then somebody actually allowed us to go on the Rath and we touched the deity, and when we came back to Vrindavan, we went to one Vaishnava saint, and Dinbandhu told that this time we went to the Jagannath Puri and we climbed on the chariot and we touched the Jagannath. He said, how can you climb on a chariot? Chariot is Jagannath's, not yours. So it's not for a Vaishnava to climb on a chariot. It's better to offer obeisance from below. But those who are Vidyapati or those who are actually Pujari, they can go up. Or servant, not everybody. But somehow for some time, I think because those go up, they offer something to the Pandas, so this has become a practice. It should not be done. It's better not. The chariot belongs to Jagannath, not to us. So we should not climb, basically speaking. Those who are doing service, they can go.
Prabhuji, in Charnamrit, like in Bhoga, we get tulsi. And I heard that we should not chew tulsi leaf. But sometimes we get very big tulsi leaf. We can't even chew and swallow. So what do we?
Basically, I mean, generally it is said that one should not cut the tulsi leaf with the teeth. That is the one rule. I remember once I went to the temple in Nityanand Prabhu's temple in Bengal next to the Calcutta. They had a big tulsi leaf, but they just actually in a hand they made a small round and they put in a mouth and then put a Charanamrita on the top of that. So I mean they wanted us that we should avoid this thing. But generally I take a lot of tulsi, sometimes big, then it's very difficult to swallow. So I mean it's advisable not
there is no praman for this, no, that one shouldn't chew the tulsi. There is no praman found at the moment.
Anyway, this is traditionally nobody should cut the leaf with the teeth. That's it. I don't know, maybe some other reasons. They are very. What is the reason? I don't know. But everybody has to honor tulsi and take tulsi and charanamrit. There's no doubt about that.
Probably some people also say that, Sundays or Ekadashis or Dwadashis, we should not be touching tulsi.
This item tulsi will come also in a item, but there is also a separate department how to care for tulsi and when to take tulsi. There are definitely some days in which we don't really pick tulsi directly, and before picking we have to offer some prayers to the tulsi that we are doing it for Krishna. It's not going and just picking tulsi. So there are some rules and regulations also.
And Dwadashi says tulsi should not be placed.
Yeah, there are some Sunday, Dwadashi, and there are some rules are there. But for deities it can be done. People are doing it for deity. Or we keep it in a refrigerator one day before, no problem. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.